Hello everyone, this is Chaotic Vice 777, always known as Vice the Fallen Paladin. Welcome to my account review of playing 2 years of Honkai Star Rail. So to get started, as you can see, I have changed my profile name. This was adjusted so that I'm more identifiable, and if I do ever swap back to the old name, it's because the hex color codes work again. And then here are my achievements. I know people have gotten a lot more achievements than I have, but I've also haven't really explored Amphorius. As you can see from my map exploration, I have barely touched any of the chests, and that should definitely give me a lot more Stellar Jade. Probably at least 2 multis, surely, right? At least if I've seen that 120 chest notification. Well, in any case, I will get that completed, but I just haven't been motivated to do it lately due to my ongoing dissatisfaction with the game. And I will be covering that in the second half of the video. But for now, let's go over my current roster. Actually, before I even do that, let's go ahead and show you my Stellar Jade count and my Oneric shards. So here they are. 18,000 is more than 100 pools. And then from the exchange shop, you can see that I can exchange for another 50 more. I haven't done the Cherished Recollection yet. I do plan on topping more. The 300, as you know, or maybe you don't know, came from a friend way back during the day. I had that 300 carried over from the first account review. It hasn't been touched, but now I think I will spend and top up. So yeah, as you can see, I haven't topped up yet at all. And for what I'm planning to do for the Fate collab, I think I will spend 150. And this will mean that I should be guaranteed for Hyacinth, and then I should have a good shot for going for Saber. And then once this video is posted, you should see the updated Stellar Jade count as well as the Hyacinth rolls from there. Okay, now back onto the main topic, my roster. So, Gallagher has been phenomenal, but as it stands, he's being shared across Acheron, Firefly, and Casters. That's too many teams, even for 2 sustains. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to get a Hyacinth to address the sustain situation. And I mean, there isn't anything wrong with him. He's E6. He isn't on Sacerdos. He's currently on the, well, I wouldn't say outdated, but you know, he's on the speed break sets, so that he contributes more for the Firefly team, which segues into Firefly herself. Firefly E2 S0. I mean, over 200% break effect, 154 speed, seems fine. I mean, as long as she meets the thresholds, she's just been a staple in my teams. Ron May, E1 S1. I would prefer the slower build, but if I'm farming for Hyacinth, if I'm farming for Saber, if I'm farming for Emiya, how am I going to make any build adjustments? It's just not happening, right? She's perfectly functional as it is. 100, more than 180 break effect. She's on 4 piece of the ally break effect. Watchmaker, so yeah. Fugue. Oh man, Fugue. Oh, she gave me grief during the Christmas throws, but I got her for her rerun. E0S0. She has enough break effect because of Calpagni and Ron May and her own traces. Robin is also E1S1. This build is not going to change. Why? Because I have the right amount of speed and I have physical damage boost on top of having 4K attack. I know that there are low cycle setups where she wants to be faster, I think 134 or so, but once again, build adjustments are not happening. Clara does have her traces. She has E2 Sig, not that it really does anything for her. She doesn't have relics because I literally share them. Like, I share all my relics between my characters if I can. Mostly the crit damage ones, because they're generic, or speed. Himiko, due to the recent Tribi losses, is now E2. Perfect stopping point. She does not have Grand Duke. She also shares Sigonia, Duran, Izumo with Herta. Let's go ahead and talk about the Trailblazer. Both of my builds are complete. Let me go ahead and show Harmony real quick. Harmony Trailblazer has S1 Dance Dance Dance. I have S6 Dance Dance Dance. I share a Tribi, but at this point, I'll take it. I would prefer S10, but you know, S10 is just not happening, right? Not without a rate up, and I didn't want to roll on Herta's banner, I believe, was it? Yeah. And even if it's not, I know it's in that patch. Actually, going back to Harmony Trailblazer, Fugue is not necessarily a replacement for Harmony Trailblazer, especially if I run Sustainless Firefly. So, it's not like HMC became useless. Let's go ahead and talk about Jingliu. She has not seen the light of day ever since the Adventuring Apocalyptic Shadow. I would love to continue using her, but she has so many damage and kit issues right now that I can't really run her, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely sure there are low cost clears, but my gosh, are they unrelatable. My roster builds are like average to above average. Don't get too excited over any of this. Because of the Sacerdo farming, I gave her a Scholar instead of Quantum, so she's fine. E0S1, she served her purpose. E1 Yanqing, yay, max traces, fantastic. Okay, Akron. E2S1, one of the most heavily invested characters in my account, and all I can say is the boots are so bad. Like, these ones are so much better. And I mean, okay, she has Izumo, she has E1, she has Sunday, and she can have Fu Xuan. That gives her 106% crit rate, which is too much, but like, at this point, I'd rather have more ultimates that hit for less rather than having one ultimate that hits for more. I would love to give her better substats, but as it stands, with the speed requirements that she needs, I can't really complain that much. Make sure to give Bailu plenty of head pats. As Mr. Pokey would say, blessings of Bailu. E4, perfect stopping point. We don't talk about E6. E6 is bad. Bad. Her relics are okay. She shouldn't be using what is real. I'm pretty sure I only used it because I was testing it with Gallagher and then I forgot to swap it back. Not that big of a deal. Alright, let me go back up to Bronya now. Bronya right now is E1S1 thanks to the special standard selector. E1 is absolutely a game changer. Rags wise, she is sharing gear with Sunday and Sparkle. That's why her build is strange. So don't give her a lot of grief, yeah? Max traces, and let's go over to Caceres. Caceres is E0S1. The most recent addition in terms of DPS. She'll be my 3.0 DPS. And yeah, I mean, I prepared for her. I gave her what relics I could, along with Chibi. I'm making it a point to not use her global passive. If I use it, I don't know, maybe because enemy RNG is so particular. I hope that never comes in the future. I'd rather not have that happen. E1 Chibi. The counter, like, if I had E1 Ron May for 1.0, E1 Robin for 2.0, Chibi is now E1 for 3.0. She's fine as it is. Once again, sharing Dance 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 with Harmony Trailblazer. Yeah, I mean, with all the AoE content out there, she absolutely is pulling in more weight than Robin. Sparkle mains are gonna kill me for this build. Don't worry about the gear. Like I said, I'm sharing with Sunday, and I was also swapping around light cones and stuff. So yeah. I really hope Archer fixes Sparkle's usage rate, because the way it is right now, she has not been great. I've used her at hyper speed, and the results range from middling to disappointing. I know that my supports are E1, so that could play a role, but I feel like if I need E2 to solve the issue, I'd rather spend elsewhere. Fu Xuan, you might notice that she is on ER chest, and I will say that I mauled every time trend does not hit. She's even at 5k HP. I know how to use her. She's fine. As long as she gives me Akron stacks, that's all she needs to do. Sela, E1. Thank you, Fugue. That was great. I love failing Fugue twice. E1 is completely useless. It's literally what the light cone does. Great. Yeah. I've seen low cost Sela clears, but the relics are too unrelatable. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Silverwolf. Just like Jing Liu, I really hope the buffs help her, but I am not expecting much. Her build has not changed whatsoever. Mainly because it's a completed build. She has enough break effect, she has enough EHR, she has enough energy regeneration rate. Like, there's nothing particularly wrong with her besides the fact that, well, I just don't have the room to slot her in. Okay, so let's cover Sunday. Sunday at E0S1, extreme lifesaver. Like, holy Bronya power creep. Also, he can serve as a replacement for RMC in case I need to use HMC. Obviously on Sacerados. Technically, Lushaka would be better, but I'll take what I can get. I believe I did act... Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, no, I did. I do have enough affected effect res, not affected rate. Sorry. Doctor Ratio. Traces are finished. E0 S0 free character. He shares the same stuff as Sela. Let's do a speed run of the 4 stars, shall we? So let's see here. Natasha is dead in a ditch. Okay, sample Gwenithan, which is finally at E6, by the way. And then also March. They're all built to serve the needs at the time, because there was a .pure fiction that basically made me wish for death. And yeah, now that that's over with, I am glad that I don't have to worry about that ever again. Pela, staple in my Acheron team, especially when she's sustainless. I know it's not the most optimal Pela build, but I was also borrowing pieces from a lot of different people, so that's why her build is a little wonky at this point in time. But she has the stats that she needs, and that's good enough. Herta, like I said, she shares with Himiko. And yeah, I know, her relics are all over the place. Like I said, I share pieces. Tingyun is fine. I would prefer a lot more attack, but right now, I mean, the build is obviously not adjusted properly because I've also because I'm sharing so many pieces. It's just that, how do I explain this? It's so hard to make a build adjustments because of my character goals. Serval, she's fine. I know it's wonky, having a more than 100% crit rate. This is because of the relics that she has, but I do use her on occasion for pure fiction. Everybody else is kind of dead. I want to build Welt, and I want to build Gepard in the future, not now. Okay, so let's talk about Honkai Star Rail as a whole. For context, I am a Fate Grand Order player. I started as one. I've played other games, Darkest Dungeon, Hearthstone, Yu-Gi-Oh, and let's see. I mean, yeah, obviously Zenless Zone Zero, but and then Brotato. That's what it was. So I play a lot of indie games. I've played a lot of mainstream games. Lots of RNG, mind you. Anyways, back on topic. So the reason I mentioned Fate Grand Order is because I know what it's like to read a visual novel. So there's plenty of black screens, still screens, long story, convoluted and expository narration. After seeing 2,500 logins, I kind of know what a good story is and what a bad story is. And unfortunately, I would say that Honkai Star Rail's vision is just too ambitious. The characters are weirdly hard to relate to. Because the Trailblazers' mission is to cross different worlds, we players are left with a bloated cast that usually can't interact with each other. Like, you have to use the war dance in the Xianzhou, for example, or maybe Penacony, like dreams and all of these. You have to basically go out your way to get them to interact with each other, and that's so disappointing. For me, that's kind of immersion breaking, because it's like you have an entire universe, but the worlds just don't connect with each other. I mean, sure, I know paths, aeons, and stuff like that, but it's just not it's just a universe that I have a hard time getting into unless I specifically look at the lore. And if I have to look up the lore, I mean, sure. I mean, FGO has lore too. But how do I explain this? In FGO, everything is canon for some reason or another. Honkai Star Rail, if you took the worlds separately, they could have their own canon timelines, and I wouldn't notice the difference. Let's also talk about consequences. Characters do not die. Characters usually do not experience anything lasting. Sure, I'm sorry about the locked screen. Sure, the characters do receive upgrades like Hunt March or MC, but all in all, characters kind of stay in their own arcs. So, because of that, it's really hard to find stakes in your plot. That's why Bellabog had such a strong impact. The cast was condensed, the plot was simple, and it worked. The events, oh my gosh, the events are so bad, man. I don't know where to get with this. Before we had Seal Slammers, and then we also had the anniversary idol money event. The last couple of patches have been so painful. Like, there's just nothing to do. Like, you do the events, and then you just bail. Like, there's not much to do. Like, most of the content I make is endgame for a reason. I don't like to slog through the story because it's hard to read. And endgame at least is a little more engaging, even if it's low cycle clears. HP inflation, I know everyone said about HP inflation, it's aggressive. The mechanics and buffs that they're using are aggressive. And teams are so synergistic that if you fail one of the like, you have to roll for members because there aren't really 4-star alternatives. I mean, yeah, Moza, Hunt March for follow-up, Remembrance Trailblazer, Harmony Trailblazer, I get that. But if you think about it, the 4-star roster has not really increased in comparison to the 5-star roster. So, because you don't really have a lot of budget options, you're forced to roll on the gacha. And when you fail on the gacha, it is so bad. It feels so depressing. I've had more successful gacha rolls in FGO and other games compared to HSR. Like, I haven't even posted any Girls Frontline 2 content in the channel, mainly because I consider it a side game, and I don't personally find a lot of, like, I don't know why I would even talk about Girls Frontline 2, because I don't even know the story. I just play the game because it's so easy to play. Okay, back on topic. So, because new characters are so important, and because power creep is such a thing, when you have a newer account and you have those influx of roles, that's usually more powerful than the account that has all of these older characters and multiple copies of the standard characters. And it's just like, wow, does that mean I just wasted all my time for nothing? Maybe the 3.4 buffs will change something, but hey, those are for limited characters. They didn't even touch the standard ones. So what do I say to that? Like, in FGO, I've done both vertical and horizontal investment. And yeah, you're right. The game is anywhere from 8. It's like the game is approaching 10 years old in JP, 8 years for NA. So it's got the advantage in age. But you've had plenty of cheap gearing and cheap farming options, and you could clear content easily. Like, there's even a video of one of the hardest boss fights being beaten with a team that's so budget that even a budget player would have more expensive alternatives. That's how crazy FGO can get. In the past year, Honkai Star Rail has felt more like a downgrade. 2.0 was a definite downgrade compared to 1.0, and 3.0 has been a downgrade compared to 2.0. The highlights of this year were Divergent Universe, the Penacony finale, and Wishful Resin. But think about it. If one cutscene and a bunch of quality of life updates were the game's best-selling points for this year, that means there's a lot of underlying problems. And I've already covered a lot of them in the past couple of minutes. And if we're going to bring up the burnout argument, I mean, sure. I don't like reading the story at this point. But when I first started Amphorius, I had such high hopes. I wanted the game to make a comeback. And the game isn't making that comeback. I don't know. I know what I'm saying is like a rant. But I want to believe in the game. I want the game to do better. And you know what? If I go and top off and say that I'm going to be spending $150, you know what, Des? Take it. You know what? I'll do you one better. I'll also spend enough of these express supply passes so that I'll spend I don't know, 2 or 3 express supply passes, enough to get me to 3.4. I'll spend enough to get more of that Stellar Jade and improve my chances. I'll do that to show that, yes, I appreciate the game for what it's done. I do appreciate the devs' hard work. And let's say that 3.4 doesn't pan out. I play 3.4 and then I drop the game. It's easy as that. HSR is not that deep of a game. I mean, okay, that's wrong to say. It does have deep mechanics, but it is so easy to glaze over the mechanics when skill is being expressed through mechanics knowledge and stats. And yeah, you could argue the same for FGO. But in FGO, like I said, you have budget alternatives, and you're not forced to clear content in a speedy manner. Whereas HSR, if you don't get the right amount of score in Apoc Shadow, or Pure Fiction, or get enough Psychos and Memory of Chaos, you're out of options, right? So yeah, I'll be spending, and then with the 150, well 160 at that point, I'll go ahead and get this Golden Companion Spirit thingy, and then that'll be the end of it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any constructive feedback or comments, go ahead and post it. For future plans, if I drop Honkai Star Rail, it would mean that I would no longer post Honkai Star Rail for my content. That said, I will still continue to play Zenless Zone Zero and FGO, and you will continue seeing videos for the foreseeable future. Now, as for Girls Frontline 2, if Honkai Star Rail stops being one of my content generators, then I might at least post an account review of my Girls Frontline 2 account. And I think that covers it. I'll see you until the next video. Bye-bye.